Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. My name is Derek Carter, and I am 33 years old. I pulled into the cracked driveway of our little rental on the south side of Columbus, Georgia at 11:15 in the evening after a double shift at the distribution center off the interstate. My lower back throbbed from lifting pallets all day. My feet ached in that dull, familiar way steel-toe boots always leave behind, and all I could think about was a hot shower and my old mattress waiting in the dark back bedroom. The moment I stepped through the front door, I knew I was not getting either of those things. The house felt too bright, too awake. The lamp in the hallway was on, casting a warm light over the narrow mirror my wife had insisted on buying from a boutique downtown. Monica stood in front of it, adjusting the straps on a tight red dress I had never seen before. Her hair was blown out and curled at the ends. Her makeup was fully done like she was about to attend a gala, and her heels made her 3 inches taller than usual. It was a Wednesday night in a quiet Georgia neighborhood, and she looked like she was headed to some club in downtown Atlanta. Going somewhere? I asked, dropping my keys onto the kitchen counter. The jingle sounded too loud in the still house. I shrugged off my work jacket, waiting for her to turn around. She did not. She kept examining herself in the mirror, tilting her head left and right like I was nothing more than background noise. Out, Monica said. One word, flat, as she smoothed the front of the dress. Her lipstick was a deep berry color I had never seen her wear. She had a small gold necklace around her neck that I recognized, my anniversary gift from 3 years ago. Out where? I asked. I glanced at the stove clock to make sure I had the time right. It is almost midnight, Monica. What kind of place are you going at this time on a Wednesday? She finally spun around on those heels and looked at me like I just asked the most ridiculous question she had ever heard. Now you want to talk, Monica said. Her voice had that sharp edge I knew too well. Now you suddenly care where I go. I kept my hands in my pockets and my voice level. Years of dealing with her mood swings and cold spells had taught me that raising my voice never helped. I'm asking a simple question, I said. Where are you going this late, dressed like that? I do not owe you explanations, Monica said. She grabbed her purse from the couch, checking inside it for her phone and wallet. Maybe if you paid attention to me during the day, I would not need to go out at night. She said it without even looking at me, like it was rehearsed. That is not an answer, I said. I leaned against the counter and watched her. My chest felt tight, but my mind was cold. I had been waiting for this night. I just had not expected it to feel this strange. Monica walked toward the front door, hips swinging with every step, then stopped and turned back. There was something hard in her eyes, a mix of anger and something meaner, almost spiteful. You want the truth, she said. Fine. Maybe tonight I will find 2 young men half your age who actually know how to make me feel like a woman again. Because clearly you have forgotten how. The room went quiet. Not the comfortable quiet of a home late at night, but the heavy, electric quiet before a storm. I stared at her for a long moment. 8 years together, and she had never said anything that cruel to my face. Not like that. I slid my thumb over the edge of my phone in my pocket and heard my own voice come out steady. Pull off that dress right now, I said, or I will do it for you. My voice was calm, too calm. That seemed to shake her more than if I had shouted. Her eyes went wide. Excuse me, Monica said. She took a step back, more surprised than afraid. You heard me, I said. Take off the dress, put on normal clothes, and sit down. We are going to have a conversation you have been avoiding for weeks. I did not move toward her. I just stood there, watching her. She laughed. Actually laughed, short and sharp. Or what? Monica said. You will stop me? You are going to put your hands on me now. Go ahead. Try it. I will call the police so fast your head will spin. She grabbed her phone and held it up like a shield. I pulled my own phone out and held it where she could see the screen. Go ahead, I said. Call them. I would love to explain to them why you're dressed like that at midnight on Wednesday. I would love to show them what I've been looking at for the past 3 weeks. The confidence drained from her face, as if someone had pulled a plug. Her shoulders stiffened. What are you talking about? Monica asked. Her voice had dropped, and she was not as loud now. Sit down, I said. On the couch. Now. No, she said. I am leaving. She turned back to the door and put her hand on the knob. I did not move. I did not grab her or block the way. I just said, very clearly, Walk out that door and you will regret it for the rest of your life." Monica froze. "Is that a threat?" she asked, glancing over her shoulder at me. "It is a promise," I said, "because I know exactly where you are going. I know who you are meeting. I know what you have been doing every Tuesday and Thursday night for the past month, and I have proof." Her fingers tightened around the doorknob. She turned slowly, her eyes searching my face. "You are bluffing," she said, but there was no conviction behind it. I tapped my phone screen and opened the app that had become my ugly habit for 3 weeks. The tracking software my friend Maurice installed for me. It showed her phone's location history. Every bar, every parking lot, every late night stop at those apartments off Victory Drive. I held it up so she could see. "Am I?" I asked. Monica stared at the screen. I watched the blood drain from her cheeks, leaving her pale. "How long have you known?" she whispered. "Long enough to talk to a lawyer," I said. "Long enough to document everything. Long enough to make copies of every text, every photo, every credit card receipt. You spent $200 at some boutique in Midtown last week on that dress you were wearing. Our joint credit card." I pointed at the red fabric. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "I can explain," Monica said. Her voice shook. "I do not want explanations," I said. "I want you to understand that our marriage is over. You do not get to insult me, threaten me, and walk out to cheat on me. Not anymore. You cannot just decide that," she said. "You do not get to throw away 8 years like they are nothing, Derek." I walked past her and opened the door myself, letting the humid Georgia night air drift inside. "Actually," I said, "I can. But tonight, you are not going anywhere except to the guest room. Tomorrow morning, we will discuss how this divorce is going to work. And if you try to leave this house before we talk, I will file a police report for theft of marital assets." "Theft?" Monica repeated. She frowned, confused. "Those earrings you are wearing," I said. "They belong to my grandmother. That purse." I pointed to the expensive bag in her hand. "Wedding gift from my parents. They are not going to walk into some bar on your arm while you pretend you are single. Do you want to test me?" For the first time in years, Monica had nothing to say. She kicked off her heels, the sound of them hitting the hardwood floor echoing down the hallway, and walked toward the back of the house without another word. The red dress shimmered as she disappeared into the guest room and closed the door. I shut the front door, slid the deadbolt, and put the chain on. My whole body felt wired and exhausted at the same time. The conversation had only just begun, and I knew I was not going to sleep that night. Not because I was heartbroken. I had done my grieving 3 weeks earlier when I first found out. Tonight was something else entirely. Tonight was the beginning of the end. 3 weeks earlier, I had come home from the distribution center in the middle of the afternoon. My supervisor, Mr. Lewis, had clapped me on the shoulder after we unloaded a truck ahead of schedule and said, "Go on, Derek. You crushed it today. Take the rest of the day." I left work at 2, drove home past the same gas stations and old brick churches, humming along to the radio, thinking I might actually catch Monica on a good day. I walked into the house expecting to find my wife doing something ordinary, watching television, scrolling on her phone, folding laundry she would complain I never helped with. Instead, the living room was quiet. I heard the shower running in the back bathroom. On the kitchen table, her laptop was open, the blue light of the screen casting a glow on the cluttered surface. I was not the type to snoop. At least, I had not been before that day. But the laptop screen caught my eye as I walked past. A messaging app was open, and at the top of the window was a group chat name that made me pause. Girls' Night Out. I should have kept walking. That is what I told myself later. I should have minded my business and trusted my wife. But something about that chat name felt off. We had been married 8 years, and she had never mentioned a group like that. The first messages in the thread were from about 2 months earlier, right around the time she started acting distant, picking fights out of nowhere, going silent at the dinner table. I stepped closer and glanced at the screen. The messages were worse than anything my anxious brain had imagined. They were not planning movie nights or spa trips. They were planning hookups. There were 5 women in the chat, all married from what I could tell, coordinating trips to bars in downtown Columbus, sharing photos of men they had met, bragging about the attention they were getting from men in their 20s. Monica's messages sat right in the middle of it all. She complained about how boring her husband was, how I never took her anywhere, how she deserved better. She wrote that she wanted to feel alive again, that she hated feeling like some old married woman in a small house on the edge of town. My stomach twisted, but my hands were steady. I pulled my phone from my pocket and began taking photos of the screen. Every message, every plan, every disgusting little detail. When I heard the shower turn off, I stepped away from the laptop and pretended I had just walked in. Monica came out of the hallway, wearing leggings and an oversized t-shirt, towel around her shoulders, hair damp. "Hey," she said casually. "You were home early." "Yeah," I said, forcing my voice to sound normal. "We finished up quicker than they expected. How was your afternoon?" "Busy," she said, rolling her eyes dramatically. "I've been doing laundry all day. I swear this house eats socks." She laughed and walked right past the open laptop, never realizing I had seen anything. That was when I knew I could not confront her yet. If I did, she would deny everything, call me paranoid, accuse me of invading her privacy. I had seen her twist smaller arguments before, make me question my memory, apologize for things I was not even sure I did. I was not going to give her that chance with something this big. So I kept my mouth shut and got smart. The next day, during my lunch break, I called my friend Maurice, who worked in information technology for a company over in Atlanta. We had grown up together in Columbus, and he was one of the few people I trusted completely. I told him I needed help and that it was serious. We met that evening at a coffee shop near the university. Maurice listened while I explained what I'd seen on the laptop, his expression going from confused to angry. "That is messed up, Derek," Maurice said quietly. "Are you sure you want to know everything? Because once you see it, you cannot unsee it." "I already know enough to feel sick," I said. "But if I confront her without proof, she will tear me apart. I need to be absolutely sure. I need evidence she cannot twist." Maurice nodded slowly. "All right," he said. "There is monitoring software parents use to keep track of their kids' phones. It is legal as long as you own the account. It will back up messages and show location history. If you have access to the cloud account, we can set it up." That night, Monica left her phone charging on the kitchen counter like she always did before bed. She went to the bedroom to watch some reality show. I sat at the table with Maurice, my laptop open, her phone unlocked. He talked me through installing the software, linking it to the shared cloud account we paid for together. My hands shook a little as I typed, but I kept going. "That is it," Maurice said after a few minutes. "From now on, you'll be able to see where her phone goes and what gets backed up. Do not use this to torture yourself, Derek. Use it to protect yourself." For the next 2 weeks, I watched. Tuesday nights, Monica said she was going to a book club at a co-worker's apartment. The GPS showed her at a sports bar on Veterans Parkway, then at another bar near downtown. Thursday nights, she claimed her mother in Macon needed help with errands. The location history showed her at the same cluster of bars, sometimes at a different spot across town near the river. I documented everything. Screenshots of her location history, timestamps, credit card statements showing charges at those places. Our joint account was paying for her to dress up and entertain herself while she lied to my face. I sat alone on our worn couch and scrolled through images of her drinking cocktails with strangers. A few of her text conversations were backed up too. Messages to the group chat, where she described outfits in detail and bragged about the attention she was getting. I saw one message where she wrote, "Tyler is so fine. He is 24 and actually listens when I talk. I feel like I am 21 again when I am with him." I did not know who Tyler was yet, but I knew I hated his name. After a week of staring at evidence until my head hurt, I took a day off work and drove to a small office building near downtown Columbus to meet with a divorce attorney. Not some big-name lawyer with glossy ads on billboards, just a quiet man named Mr. Jameson who had good reviews online and a simple sign on his door. His waiting room smelled like coffee and old books. I sat across from him at a wooden desk, sliding a folder full of printed screenshots and statements toward him. Mr. Jameson put on his reading glasses, looked through everything carefully, and nodded occasionally. "In this state," he said finally, "adultery does not usually change the way property is divided, but it does help your narrative. It shows a pattern of behavior and misuse of marital assets." "We rent," I said. "The lease is in my name. I signed it before we got married. Monica just moved in." Mr. Jameson smiled faintly. "That makes the separation cleaner for you. You are the sole tenant. As long as you give her a reasonable amount of time to leave and do not put her property at risk, you are on solid ground. These credit card charges help too. They show money from the marriage being used for things she hid from you. He drafted the divorce papers while I sat there, the printer humming quietly. I can file them whenever you are ready, Mr. Jameson said. My suggestion? Wait for the right moment. You need a catalyst, some event where it is impossible for her to deny what is happening. That way, when she tries to spin the story to her family, the facts are already on record. I left his office feeling both heavier and oddly lighter. The decision sat in my chest like a brick, but at least it had a shape now. I drove home, watched Monica get ready for her usual Thursday night errands, watched her check herself in the hallway mirror, watched her text the group chat that she would be there soon. I let her go. I needed one more week of documentation, one more clear pattern before I dropped the hammer. The following Thursday, I did something she would never have expected from the boring husband she described to her friends. I followed her. I waited until she was a few blocks ahead, then got in my old truck and eased out onto the main road, staying 3 cars back the whole way into town. I watched her turn into the parking lot of a sports bar near the riverfront, neon signs reflecting off her windshield. I parked across the lot, far enough that she would not notice, and watched her step out of the car. Monica wore tight jeans and a low-cut top I had never seen before. She laughed as she walked toward the entrance, her phone in her hand, heels clicking on the pavement. A group of women I recognized from the chat screenshots met her near the door, hugging her like they were sisters. Together, they walked inside toward a table crowded with young men who did not look a day over 25. I did not go inside. I sat in my truck and took photos through the windshield. The images were grainy, but clear enough. Monica leaning in close to a tall young man in a baseball cap. Monica with a drink in her hand. Monica tossing her head back in laughter. Time stamped. Location tagged. I stayed long enough to feel my stomach knot and my jaw clench. Then I drove home and sent Mr. Jameson a message authorizing him to file the divorce papers. Tonight, the night of the red dress and the confrontation, was supposed to be just another Thursday for her. Another lie. Another betrayal. Instead, I decided I was done watching, done recording, done letting her write my role in her story. She thought she was in control, thought she could slip in and out of this house like a ghost while I worked myself into the ground. She had no idea I had been 3 steps ahead for weeks. The next morning, I woke up at 6 like I always did, even though I'd barely slept. The guest room door was closed. I could hear faint movement inside, the sound of her walking back and forth, maybe talking quietly on her phone. I took a long shower, made coffee, and called my supervisor to say I was sick. It was the first time in 2 years I called out. He told me to rest and not worry about it. At 8 o'clock on the dot, I knocked on the guest room door once. Living room, I said. We are having that conversation now. Monica did not come out for another 20 minutes. When she finally stepped into the living room, she looked nothing like the confident woman from the night before. No makeup, hair pulled back messily, eyes red and swollen like she had cried herself to sleep. She wore sweatpants and one of my old college sweatshirts from Fort Valley State, the one she knew I liked on her. Manipulation wrapped in cotton. She sat at the far end of the couch, arms crossed tightly over her chest. I do not know what you think you know, Monica began, but I raised my hand to stop her. Then I picked up the television remote and turned on the flat screen mounted on the wall. I'm going to show you something, I said. Then you're going to listen. I had spent part of the night organizing everything on my laptop and connecting it to the television with an HDMI cable. A folder labeled Truth sat on the desktop. I opened it. The first image appeared on the television screen, a screenshot of the girls' night out group chat. The message where she called me boring was highlighted. Monica's face went pale. Where did you get that? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I clicked to the next image. Her location history for every Tuesday and Thursday over the last month. Little pins dotted a map of Columbus, hovering over bars, club parking lots, and those apartments off Victory Drive. These are the places you went on nights you told me you were at book club or helping your mother. I said. Wait, Monica said, standing up. That is not what it looks like. You are twisting things. Those are just. I clicked again. Credit card statements filled the screen, lines highlighted in yellow. $150 at a clothing store, $85 at a bar, $200 at a boutique, all within the last 3 weeks. I can explain those, Monica said quickly. I needed new clothes. My old things did not fit right. I was buying gifts for friends. You know how it is. I clicked again. Photos I had taken from the parking lot appeared. Monica at the bar. Monica leaning in close to that young man in the baseball cap. Monica throwing her head back in laughter. Her hand flew to her mouth. You followed me, she said. You are insane, Derek. This is stalking. This is obsessive. Sit down, I said quietly. I did not raise my voice. I did not threaten. I just kept clicking. She refused. No, Monica said. I'm not sitting here while you play private investigator. You violated my privacy. You had no right. I clicked to the next image. The first page of the divorce papers, my name and hers in clean black letters. Already filed. Already processed through the clerk's office downtown. Monica froze. The anger drained from her face, replaced by disbelief. You cannot be serious, she whispered. She looked from the television to me, then back. I'm completely serious, I said. You have 48 hours to move out. The lease is in my name. You are not legally entitled to stay here. Mr. Jameson has already confirmed I can change the locks after that time, if you refuse to leave voluntarily. This is my home too, Monica said, voice cracking. I've lived here for 8 years. I helped decorate. I made it ours. No, I said. I signed the lease before we were married. You never put your name on it. Legally, you are a guest, and I am asking you to leave. Tears slid down her cheeks. Please, she said. Please, Derek, we can work this out. I made mistakes, but I never actually did anything. It was just flirting. It was just attention. I felt invisible. You were always at work. I just wanted to feel like somebody saw me. I pulled up another file and pressed play. The audio filled the room, her voice clear, as if she were sitting in the middle of the coffee table. She was talking to one of her friends from the group chat, probably on speakerphone in her car. Tyler is exactly what I need, Monica's recorded voice said. He is 24, fit, and he actually pays attention to me. We are meeting up Tuesday. I already told him I am available. There was a pause on the recording. Another woman's voice asked, What about your husband? Monica laughed, a sound I recognized and now hated. What about him? Past Monica said. He will not know. He never knows anything. I stopped the recording. That was from 2 weeks ago, I said. Do you want to hear more? I have about 40 minutes of conversations backed up, all time-stamped. Monica's shoulders sagged. That was just talk, she said weakly. I never actually met up with Tyler, Derek. I changed my mind. I swear I did. No, I said. You did not meet up with Tyler because I confronted you before you could. You were walking out the door in that red dress to do exactly what you had been planning. She covered her face with her hands. I need help, Monica said. I'm sick. This is a mental health problem. Depression, anxiety, something. I should go to therapy. We should go to therapy together. Go to therapy, I said. Truly. I hope you do. Just do it somewhere else. Not as my wife. Monica looked up at me, eyes shining. You are not even going to try? She asked. After everything we have been through, after 8 years, do I not deserve a second chance, Derek? I almost laughed. Try what? I asked. Try to forgive you for planning to cheat. Try to forget that you call me boring and invisible to your friends. Try to pretend you did not spend months lying to my face and spending our money on your little adventures. People make mistakes, she said. Her voice grew sharper, defensive again. You act like you have been perfect. You have your flaws too. This was not a mistake, I said. You said it yourself on that recording. He will not know. He never knows anything. You thought I was stupid. You thought you could get away with this forever. You gambled our marriage on your boredom. Monica's expression hardened. The tears stopped as quickly as they had started, like someone had flipped a switch. Fine, she said. Fine. You want a divorce? You will get one. But I'm taking half of everything. The furniture, the savings, everything you think is yours. I smiled. I cannot help it. Savings? I asked. We do not have savings, Monica. You spent it. Look at those statements again. As for the furniture, most of it was mine before we got married. I have receipts in that same folder if you would like to see them. You are a bastard, she said, standing up. Maybe, I said. But I'm a bastard who is about to be single and free. You are about to be single and explaining to everyone why your marriage fell apart. Monica grabbed her phone and stormed back into the guest room, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the picture frames on the wall. I turned off the television, poured myself another cup of coffee, and sat at the table, staring at the quiet house. 48 hours suddenly seemed like a very long time. Saturday afternoon, I was fixing a loose cabinet door when my phone rang. It was Monica's mother, Mrs. Harris, calling from Macon. Her voice was tight, controlled, a little colder than usual. "We need to talk," she said. "All of us. Today at 3 o'clock at our house. Your wife is on her way here now. I expect you to come." I knew exactly what this would be. The family intervention. The circle the wagons moment where they would try to convince me I was overreacting, tell me that marriage was hard work, suggest I bear some blame for Monica's choices. "I will be there," I said. I had already decided I would not run from this part. When I pulled up to the Harris house in my 10-year-old truck, there were 4 other cars in the driveway. Mr. and Mrs. Harris's sedan, Monica's older brother Leonard's black SUV, her younger sister Patrice's compact car. The whole family had gathered. The porch light was on even though it was still bright outside, as if they wanted the house to look welcoming for a conversation that would not be. I walked in carrying a folder, the same one I had taken to Mr. Jameson's office. The living room was full. Monica sat on the couch between her mother and sister, eyes puffy, one hand clinging to a tissue. She looked up at me like a wounded actress in the middle of a tragic scene. Leonard sat in an armchair, arms crossed. Mr. Harris stood near the fireplace, shoulders squared, his expression set. "So," Mr. Harris said, "you want to explain why you're throwing away 8 years of marriage over some text messages?" His tone was not quite hostile, but it was not friendly. I stayed near the doorway. I did not sit down. "I'm not here to be lectured," I said calmly. "I came because Mrs. Harris asked me to. But let us be clear. This is not about a handful of text messages." "Then what is it about?" Leonard asked. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Because from what we are hearing, you're being pretty harsh over what sounds like a misunderstanding." I laid the folder on the coffee table and opened it. First came the credit card statements, printed in black and white. I spread them out. "That is $4,000 in 3 months," I said. "Bars, restaurants, clothing stores, hotels." "Hotels," Patrice repeated. She reached for one of the pages. "Day rates," I said. She and her friends rented rooms to change clothes before going out, so their husbands would not see what they were wearing. Sometimes they used them to freshen up between spots. It is all there. The room fell quiet. Monica shifted uncomfortably. Mrs. Harris picked up one of the pages and scanned it, her mouth tightening. I placed another stack of papers on the table. "Here are the group chat logs," I said. 5 married women coordinating meetups with younger men. Here are the parts where Monica calls me boring and invisible. Here is where she says she wants to feel alive again. Here are the photos they shared of men at those bars. And here," I said, tapping the pages, "is the location data showing exactly where she was on nights she told you, Mrs. Harris, that she was helping you run errands." Mrs. Harris looked up sharply. "I did not ask for her help in October," she said slowly. "You told us you were sick," I added, looking at her. "Monica told me she was driving down to Macon to take care of you." Mr. Harris turned his head toward his daughter. "Is this true?" he asked. His voice was low, dangerous. "Daddy, it is not what it looks like," Monica said quickly. "These are just screenshots. He is twisting everything." I was not. "Is it true?" Mr. Harris repeated. His voice cut through the room like a blade. Monica's shoulders slumped. Tears started again. "I was not happy," she said. "I felt trapped. I just wanted to feel attractive again. I did not mean for it to go this far." Patrice put a hand on her sister's shoulder, then looked down at the papers spread across the table. "We all feel like that sometimes," Patrice said softly. "But you do not do this. For $1,000, Monica? On drinks and clothes and whatever else this is. From our joint account," I said. "Money I earned working double shifts at the distribution center while she was out trying to impress 25-year-old men who could not care less about her beyond one night." Leonard stood abruptly. "Okay," he said. "That is enough, Derek. You have made your point. No need to humiliate her in front of everybody." "I'm not finished," I said. I slid one more page out of the folder. "One of the women in that group chat, Vanessa, is married to someone with the last name Whitfield." Mr. Harris's expression shifted. "Whitfield," he said slowly. "That is your cousin Jerome's wife." He looked stunned. I nodded. "Yes," I said. "I called Jerome Thursday night. I sent him the same evidence. He filed for divorce Friday morning." The room exploded. Mrs. Harris started yelling at Monica about dragging the family name through the mud. Patrice pulled her hand back from Monica's shoulder and stared at her like she was a stranger. Leonard sank back into his chair, rubbing his forehead with both hands. Monica sobbed harder. Mr. Harris looked at me, with something like respect in his eyes for the first time. "You told him?" he asked. "I would want someone to tell me," I said. And for what it is worth, Monica was not the ringleader, but she was in the middle of it, encouraging it, participating in every bit of it. Monica glared at me through her tears. "You ruined Vanessa's life," she said. "You had no right to drag other people into this, Derek." "No," I said calmly. "Vanessa ruined her own life, just like you ruined yours. I just made sure the truth came out. I did not create anything. I did not send anyone to those bars. I did not type a single message in that chat." Mrs. Harris set the papers down carefully, as if they might burn her fingers. "How many other women were in that group?" she asked. "5 total," I said. "I do not know the other 3 personally, but I'm sure their husbands will find out eventually. Word tends to spread, especially in a town this size." Patrice looked horrified. "You're going to tell them too?" she asked. "I do not have to," I said. "Someone will. Screenshots get shared. Stories get told. That is just how it works." Mr. Harris stepped closer to his daughter. "Go upstairs," he said. His tone allowed no argument. "Now." Monica hesitated, then rose slowly and walked up the stairs without looking back. Once she was gone, Mr. Harris turned to me. "I will not apologize for her," he said quietly. "She is grown. She made her choices. But I will say this. You handled this better than I would have." Mrs. Harris nodded. "I saw those screenshots you sent," she said. "I did not want to believe them, but after seeing all this," she gestured at the table. "There is no defending it. I am not asking you to pick sides," I said. "She is your daughter. You love her. I understand that. But I am done. The papers are filed. She has until tomorrow night to get her things out of the house." "Where is she going to go?" Leonard asked. His voice was softer now. "Have you thought about that at all?" "That is not my problem anymore," I said. I picked up my folder and headed toward the door. Before I left, I turned back. For what it is worth, I did not want this. I wanted a marriage. I wanted a partner. What I got was someone who thought I was too boring to respect. Mr. Harris gave me a single, firm nod. "Good luck to you, Derek," he said. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in months. The sun was low in the sky, throwing long shadows over the quiet streets. The dominoes were falling exactly the way they were supposed to. When I walked into the house, it felt different already, emptier, but also clearer, like someone had opened a window. Sunday evening, 24 hours before the deadline, Monica still had not started packing. I was in the kitchen making dinner, chicken and rice, something simple, when she came out of the guest room. She had showered and put on light makeup, just enough to soften her face. She wore leggings and that same college sweatshirt, sleeves pushed up. She knew exactly how she looked to me, familiar and almost comfortable. "Can we talk?" Monica asked. Her voice was soft, almost timid. I did not look up from the stove at first. "You have until tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the evening," I said. "After that, your things go on the curb." "Please," she said. "Just 5 minutes. That is all I am asking." I turned off the burner and faced her. "Talk," I said. Monica sat at the kitchen table, folding her hands together like she was praying. "I know I messed up," she said. "I know I did. But I need you to understand something. Nothing physical happened. It was all just talk, just fantasy. I never actually cheated. I kept thinking about it, and then backing out. I swear. You expect me to believe that?" I asked. "Yes," she said quickly. "I swear on everything. I never slept with anyone. I never even kissed anyone. It was just flirting, just feeling wanted for once." She took a shaky breath. "I felt invisible, Derek. You were always working. We stopped talking. You came home tired, and I felt like furniture. I worked double shifts so we could pay our bills," I said, "including the bills you were racking up at bars. That invisibility you talk about, that is what responsibility looks like sometimes." "I know," Monica said. "I know, and I am sorry. I am truly sorry. But does 8 years not count for something? Do I not deserve one more chance to get this right?" Her voice broke again. "I am begging you." I pulled my phone from my pocket and opened the voice memo app. "Let me play you something," I said. Her eyes widened. "What is that?" Monica asked. I pressed play. Her own voice floated through the kitchen again, describing Tyler in detail. "Tyler is exactly what I need," she said on the recording. 24, fit, and he actually pays attention to me. "We are meeting up Tuesday. I already told him I am available." The recording played her laugh. "What about your husband?" "He will not know. He never knows anything. I stopped the recording. That was not just fantasy, I said. That was a plan. Monica closed her eyes for a moment. That was just talk, she repeated weakly. I got caught up. I never went through with it. That has to mean something. The only reason you did not go through with it is because I confronted you first, I said. You were headed out in that red dress to meet him, or someone just like him. You had every intention of crossing that line. The only thing that stopped you was me, not your conscience. She buried her face in her hands. I need help, Monica said. I really do. Something is wrong with me. I have been depressed for months. I did not know how to tell you. I made terrible choices, and I am owning that. But I am asking you to meet me halfway. We can see a therapist. We can go to church counseling. We can do something. Go get help, I said. Talk to a therapist. Talk to a pastor. Talk to a friend. But I am not going to spend the rest of my life wondering when the next lie is coming. I am done living like that. Monica stood abruptly, anger flaring again. Fine, she said. You want to make me the villain? Go ahead. But my lawyer says I am entitled to half of everything. I'm not walking away from this marriage empty-handed. Your lawyer is wrong, I said. We do not own anything together. The lease is mine. The truck is mine. The furniture is mostly mine. The savings account is empty because you spent it. What exactly do you think you're getting? Alimony. She lifted her chin. We were married 8 years, Monica said. I work part-time, so I could take care of the house. You made that choice with me. I am entitled to something. I actually laughed. I make barely above minimum wage at the distribution center, I said. There is no alimony coming from my paycheck. Mr. Jameson already confirmed that. Your public defender called me Friday and told me himself that you do not have a strong case. He suggested you take whatever I offer and move on quietly. Monica's shoulders sagged. What do you want? She asked. Her voice was small now. All the bravado drained out of it. I want you gone tomorrow, I said. You can take your clothes, your personal items, and anything you can prove you bought with your own money. Everything else stays. Where am I supposed to go? She asked. To my parents? After you show them all that? To a friend? Do you have any idea how humiliating this is for me? You can go to your parents, a friend, a hotel, I said. I do not care where you go. That part is no longer my responsibility. You really hate me that much? Monica asked quietly. I shook my head. I do not hate you, I said. I just do not respect you. And I am not going to spend the rest of my life with someone I cannot respect. Tears spilled down her cheeks again, slow and silent. I never wanted this, she said. Then you should not have done it, I replied. Monica walked back to the guest room without another word. I turned the burner back on, finished making dinner, and ate alone at the kitchen table. The house was quiet except for the faint sound of a basketball game on the television. Tomorrow could not come fast enough. The next morning, I woke to the sound of boxes being dragged across the floor. When I stepped out of the bedroom, Monica was in the hallway packing. 4 suitcases and 3 cardboard boxes sat near the front door. Her car was parked in the driveway, trunk open. She did not look at me. She just kept moving. I watched from the doorway as she carried her things out one by one. There were no dramatic speeches, no last-minute pleas. She loaded the last box into the trunk, closed it, and stood for a moment with her hand on the latch. Then she got in the car, backed out of the driveway, and drove away without looking back. 8 years of marriage, gone in 48 hours. I stood there on the porch and realized I felt nothing but relief. No more checking my phone every hour. No more wondering if she was telling the truth. No more pretending not to see what was right in front of me. 3 months later, the divorce was final. I sat in Mr. Jameson's office again, signing my name on the last page of the papers. He slid them into a folder and shook my hand. Clean break, he said. No alimony. No shared assets. You are officially free, Mr. Carter. It felt good hearing it out loud. Life settled into a new rhythm. I picked up an extra Saturday shift at the distribution center, not because I desperately needed the money, but because I liked staying busy. When I was not working, I fixed up the rental house. I painted the guest room a soft gray, got rid of the furniture that reminded me of Monica, and rearranged the living room so it felt like my space, not our space. I started going to the gym 3 mornings a week before work. Nothing extreme. Light weights, some cardio, stretching. Enough to feel my body getting stronger again, rather than just tired. I cut back on fast food, cooked more meals at home, and actually tasted my food instead of rushing through it. I slept better. My older brother, Calvin, invited me to join his bowling league at a place off Macon Road. I protested at first, saying I was terrible at bowling, but he would not take no for an answer. You need people around you, D, Calvin said. Not drama. Just people. Come hang out. I turned out to be decent at bowling. Nothing special, but good enough that the other guys on the team clapped my shoulder and joked that I was their secret weapon. The league was full of regular men with regular lives. Teachers, mechanics, a mail carrier, a barber. They knew about my divorce because Calvin told them, but they did not pry. We talked about work, news, sports, somebody's kid graduating high school. Normal things. I was not looking for anything beyond that. I was not interested in dating. I was focused on learning how to be alone without feeling lonely. Most nights, that meant watching a game on television, reading a book, or sitting on the porch with a cold drink while the cicadas sang. That was why it surprised me when I ran into Tyler at a hardware store one Saturday afternoon. I was wandering the plumbing aisle at a big box store off the highway, looking for a replacement hose for the washing machine, when I saw him. Early 20s, fit build, a college t-shirt from the university in the next town over. His face clicked into place in my memory. I recognized him from the photos Monica had saved in her phone, the man she had been texting. He was taller in person, with a tattoo peeking out from under his sleeve. He did not recognize me. Why would he? To him, I had been nothing but a complication in someone else's lie. I grabbed what I needed and headed toward the checkout. As I passed the next aisle, I heard his voice. He was on the phone with someone, speaking just loud enough for his words to carry. Man, that older woman's situation was wild, Tyler said. She kept texting me talking about how her husband did not appreciate her, how he never took her anywhere. I thought she was separated or something. Then her actual husband called me and told me she was lying about everything. Married, living together, the whole thing. There was a pause, then he laughed. I blocked her so fast, Tyler said. I do not need that kind of drama. There are too many single women out here to mess with somebody's wife. I walked right past him, straight to the register, a small smile tugging at the corner of my mouth. Monica had tried to drag Tyler into her mess, and he had wanted no part of it once he knew the truth. The fantasy she had built up in her mind, a 24-year-old man ready to risk everything for her, had crashed into reality. He saw the wreck coming and stepped aside. I paid for my supplies, drove home with the window cracked, and spent the afternoon repainting the bedroom from the pale blue Monica had picked to a gray I actually liked. The house felt different with every stroke of the roller, less like a space I was trying to salvage, and more like a place I was building from scratch. That evening, while I was cleaning up paint trays in the bathroom, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I wiped my hands and picked it up. Hey, it is me, the text read. Can we talk? I miss you. I made mistakes, but I am different now. Please. I stared at the message for exactly 5 seconds. Then I blocked the number, deleted the text, and went back to rinsing paint out of the roller. The silence afterward felt better than any conversation with her could have. Sunday morning, I met my bowling league at a small diner near the lanes. It was the kind of place where the waitress knew Calvin by name and automatically brought coffee refills without asking. We crowded into a corner booth, ordered pancakes and eggs, and talked about the usual things. Work, football, somebody's car acting up. After a while, one of the guys, Fletcher, looked at me and said, "You seem lighter these days, Derek. How are you really doing?" I thought about it for a second. Good, I said. Lighter is a good word. I feel like I can breathe again. Heard from her at all? Calvin asked. She tried to text yesterday, I said. I blocked her. Fletcher nodded. Good, he said. That door needs to stay closed. It is closed, I said. Locked. Deadbolt. The men around the table chuckled quietly and moved on to another topic. The moment passed easily, without pity or awkwardness, and I realized how grateful I was for that. We finished breakfast, bowled a few games, and I headed home in the late afternoon, windows down, the radio playing an old soul song my father used to hum when he worked on his car. For the first time in a long time, I was not thinking about what had gone wrong. I was not replaying arguments or reading old messages in my head. I was just driving, just existing, just being. That night, I sat on my porch with a cold drink and watched the sun slide down behind the trees. The rental house no longer felt like a place I shared with someone who had one foot out the door. It felt like mine. My dented truck in the driveway. My freshly painted rooms. My quiet. My phone stayed silent. No desperate texts. No late-night calls. No attempts to pull me back into a conversation I had already finished. Somewhere out there, Monica was probably telling people I was the villain. Probably playing the victim to anyone who would listen. Probably blaming the tracking app, the lawyer, the family meeting, anything but her own decisions. It did not matter. That was not my life anymore. I had made my choice. I had gathered the evidence, filed the papers, stood my ground, and watched her walk away carrying nothing but her clothes and the weight of her own actions. I finished my drink, went inside, and locked the door. In the morning, I would go to work, come home, maybe catch a game with the guys, maybe just read on the couch. Simple, peaceful, mine. I was just a man in his early 30s with a decent job, a clean house, and a future that did not involve wondering who my wife was texting when I was not looking. The chapter had closed. No sequel. No second chances. No what-ifs. Just a man who finally understood his own worth and refused to settle for less ever again. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.